Good morning, Bears. How is everybody today? It is a wonderful Tuesday morning, and I'm glad to be with you. Welcome to the Big Drum Bear Podcast. Once again, it is definitely morning. Oh, goodness. Already off to a fun start. And we got a bunch of fun folks in here, because y'all are fun folk. Dom, of course, he wants everybody to know he made it first. That's his goal in life, is to be first to my stream. Well, if you only have a few goals in life, right, I'd say that's a worthwhile goal. It'll probably reduce the suffering of those around you at least a little bit. It's a noble and valiant effort to try and be first to my stream. I say that without any conceit whatsoever. It's a perfectly reasonable pursuit. All right, we've also got Mayor up in here. Welcome, sir. We've got Monkey Wrench. Always glad to have Mr. Monkey Wrench up in here. Kodiak, glad to have you, sir. Glad you could join us. Sergeant Peterson, welcome. David Analog Bear is with us. Liberty Snake. Look out for the Liberty Snake, Bear. That's always something to be on the lookout for, because you want to keep your liberty, you got to be ready to bite like a snake. Keep them off. Hey, mitts off my liberty here. Who else we got? I think Robot Bear is here. Glampin is here. And who else? I saw some others here. Where'd they go? Is Bear in here? As in, not clothed. Yes, I saw Bear. I knew you were in there somewhere. So, yeah, Jeremy, make sure to tell your wife to keep clothes on during my stream, please. It's necessary. Just giving you cred, you guys. Love y'all. Cold coffee that's been in the fridge. Not bad. She's sleeping. How is she sleeping? She's here. Is she watching the stream from the bed? That's funny. Hey, Big Riggin. Good morning to you, sir. Well, thanks for sharing. That's wonderful to know. All right, so we've got nude people watching the stream, folks. That's what happens here. Sometimes I don't encourage it. I just report on it. I let you know. This is how my my circle of friends that comes to see this show behaves, and I did invite them to come along, so you can blame me. It's completely all right. Kick ya just jumped in here. Welcome. Glad to have a Kick ya in here. It's a good thing. Let's see here. So today we're going to be discussing a little bit of business that I was talking with my beautiful lady Bear about yesterday. Gonna have a little crackling going on there. Just trying to make sure that I don't have to be up in the mic like that. So I can be back here and it's still plenty loud. My beautiful wife has a beautiful mom who is 83 now. And a couple years ago, we helped her to move down to this area. She'd been living a few hours north of here for most of her life, but some different health things and whatnot that had gone on for her. We really wanted to discuss with her the option of being closer to us so that we could be there for her more at this point in her life. And my wife really is there for her, like is constantly thinking through ways to be of help and service to her mom so that her quality of life is as great as it can be. Her mom took care of her a lot, and her brother, while they were all growing up. And I won't go into all the details there. I just suffice to say that she operated as a single parent largely and worked multiple jobs at the same time and made sure that they had a decent education and as good an upbringing as she could provide. So that, oh, big announcement from the Trumpster. And what, pray tell? Well, maybe we will interrupt this broadcast for a message from El Presidente Trumpar. Let's see. Let's see if I can bring it up. I will attempt to so do right now. Let's see here. Well, that's old news. I wonder, somebody tell me what stream are y'all looking at? Uh-oh. Severe weather, huh? Are you watching Fox? I want to take a look at it. Fox News. Not my favorite in the world, but it'll work. I think there's some better, but this ought to do. I'm looking. I am not seeing. If somebody's got a link, throw it in the chat, and I will. I'll bring this up. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can. Anybody got a link? And then when it comes up, I'll switch over if I can. At least the audio. Yeah, there we go. Thanks, Dom. Here we go. Copy. And here we go. That's what we're going to do. Bingo. Paste. And then when that comes up, we'll have it ready to go. It says youtube.com/swatch is not available. Can't reach that. So whatever link you gave me. Oh, it didn't even copy the full link. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do right here, down there. I'm going to open it right there and there. Oh, it really doesn't want to open that. All right, well, whatever link you gave me, Dom, it doesn't want to open it. So that's odd. Let's see. CBS. Trump live. See if that'll work. Let's see if this will work. I don't think this is it. I don't believe it. No, this isn't it. I don't know. Something's going on. It'd be cool to be covering that live for you from here, but I'm not really much of a news guy. I don't know. It sounds like it's interesting. Somebody give us updates on whatever's being said, because I'm gonna leave it be. You guys got tornadoes in your area. I'm sorry to hear that. Breaking: Nikki Haley resigns. Wow. Okay. Wow. It must be bad. Or good. Maybe there's a strategic reason for it. Huh. At 10:30, huh? Eastern time, which is now. That's of interest. Let's see if it'll come up. It's trying. It's going to try to do both at once. I wonder how well that's going to work. If you lose me, I'll just quit. If the stream doesn't want to behave, I'll just give it up. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully you don't have any, what do you call that? What's his name? Garth Brooks songs happening in your neighborhood.
For a presidential run down the road or some higher office, in addition to her experience as 2 terms of South Carolina governor. You bring up a fascinating point. Her ambition for higher office. We have seen, different hints at that.
Trying to add the window capture right now.
Out, and would you expect her
to challenge President Trump going forward, or, you know, how would that play out?
There are a lot of never-Trumpers, as we call them, who would like to see some kind of challenge, you know, on paper. It would seem that the president would be ripe for an intra-party challenge given his unpopularity nationally, but he is very popular among Republicans and still remains so. And any challenge among Republicans would really be in vain at this point. And so it's not clear whether she would wage that, although lots of folks in the Republican Party who do not like Trump, do not like his style, point to her as a bright spot in the administration, and the fact that she has stayed from the beginning when we've seen so many departures in this White House. Her staying in that position was pretty much an anomaly. I mean, her, James Mattis, of course,
somebody just tweeted or put fake news in the
others, but we have seen so many departures in this White House. Now, we are approaching a midterm,
it was one of the Jews.
Typically in administrations,
That's
people
funny.
start to reevaluate their positions. It really depends. We'll see whether the president faces serious political consequences in November for some of the things that he has done and said.
Okay, I'm done. That's enough. I'll fade back here. So yeah, Nikki Haley doing her thing. She's stepping out. That's interesting. That'd be funny. So up-to-date news on the minute here at Big Drum Bear. Clearly, that's my niche is to bring you news, right? I wonder if I get a copyright infringement for doing that, or some kind of the copyright notice for putting that up. I'm probably spiraling on your guys' end because I've got just a red stream health over here. It's terrible. What will it let me do? Okay. Well, it shouldn't be. I faded. I faded back to you guys. Yeah, who can see me? Anybody? Anybody see my my stream back up? Because it's saying that it's... Yeah, see, I figured you can clip anything you want. Oh, nice. Nice. Okay, that's funny. You guys are cracking me up now. I try to be a vampire, that's clearly. It's not quite a widow's peak, but it's trying. Yes, come into my stream. Let me... I don't know. I was going to try to do a vampire joke, but I didn't have it. Where did BDB go? Big Riggin Bear can't see me. Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. I should have come back by now. YouTube says I'm back. Is YouTube lying? I wouldn't put it past them. YouTube, you liars. All right, so I'm looking at how you change the bit rate, because I know nothing about this bit rate changing thing. I've never done it. I don't know where it is. I thought maybe I could lower it. Anybody know where that is at on a stream where you can lower your bit rate? Settings, maybe. Maybe it'll let me change it at settings. Quality. Let's go a little lower quality today. Let's go 360p. How bad is that? How's that? Is that working better for anybody? I changed the quality to 360p, guys. What do you think? Oh, I'm good on other people's ends. Okay. Well, I lowered the rate on YouTube, so hopefully that'll fix things. Yes. So I'm always learning more about how to do this, and I have to say I've had some opportunities to opportunities to share with other people how to work with. I'm still ugly. Thank you. I've had some opportunities to share with some other people how OBS works, how to do videos, things like that. So it's been kind of neat. Like, I've just barely begun to learn how to use this thing. I'm still learning things that it can do. And on my tiny little computer, see, I bought this around tax time, and I thought that 8 gigabytes was a lot of RAM, right? This is a refurbished mid-2009 MacBook Pro, right? And I thought that'll allow me to do a lot of the music work and other things that I need to do, because the MacBook Pro I had before was even older. So it was something, and it does work great. There's a lot of things I can do here. I have it upgraded to El Capitan as the operating system. I can't go to Sierra or High Sierra. Yeah, Kick is laughing. I was just in the studio last night. Yeah, thank you, Kick. That's cute. Yes. Well, what I've operated on previously was 4 gigabyte platforms, right? So this was a huge step up for me. Huge platform for me. Yeah, it's interesting what I'm able to do with this, right? But as we grow and as I have more opportunities, as we get more people to come in here, I would love to see that watching number be up around 100. I think that'd be incredible. When I have what's the word? When I have 122 subscribers now, and I average around 17 or 18 that come to watch, that's about 1/6, of the people that subscribe, close to a sixth. That's not bad. Let's say that I had 100 people in here. That means, if it stays at about the same ratio, I'd probably have around 600 some subscribers, maybe more. What if we had something closer to like 200 people? Then we're looking at an average of about 1,200 subscribers, right? And that'd be really cool. That'd be pretty awesome. Because the more people that we have in here that can enjoy this, that can come and have some fun over this way, the more I can do with the show, the more that we can do for you. And that's what this is all about. Plenty of people are trying to improve the qualities of their streams, which is why I would just briefly tell you, we have a product here that's been endorsed by this man. This man has endorsed a product that I'm about to tell you about. He's someone that you can trust, someone that you can believe in, someone whose every word is clearly gospel. And it's probably important to form an almost cult-like following around the man. So while you're doing that, while you're engaging in your cult-like behavior around this gentleman, consider that he has sanctioned the purchase of this mug. If you're truly a handsome man, you'll want to have a handsome mug to go with it. So put on your bow tie and your spectacles, trim that mustache just a little bit, and go ahead and take a sip of your morning coffee from a Field of Bears handsome mug and support his stream. And if you're not into that handsome thing, you might like I don't know, a little more on the nose kind of thing about it. A handsome bear, which is rather dapper. Yes. 2 different ways that you can enjoy your cup of joe. And speaking of Jews, there is also another kind of mug that's in competition, shall we say. Not really competition, but it's also seeking to have its place. It's sort of pushing aside the handsome mug and saying, no, ugly's the way to go. You may want to consider a sip out of the ugly mug. She's resigning now. I was going to continue to watch, but I'll let her do her thing. I'll get on with what I'm doing. That's interesting that Haley is resigning at the same time that I want to talk about some great mugs. While you watch the resigning of Trump administration officials that have other ambitions, are ready to move on and do other things, consider a Pender's Ugly Mug. It's worthwhile. Not live yet. That's okay. That's all right. I'm not going to try to go back because my system's going to crash if I do that. Just not going to be able to handle it. Yeah, you could get both, and then you could have a little bit of the handsome and a little bit of the ugly all at the same time. So then you'll be middle of the road, right? Then you'll be average, and it'll be all right. It balances out. Sip from one, sip from the other. You're good on both fronts, and you've got a little bit of the Jew gold mindset going on. Ought to be worthwhile. I think you could probably use the Pender's Ugly Mug for the coffee when you've got the bed head. You're just getting up in the morning, and then the handsome mug you could use later for wine. I think the taller mug, the one that I showed you before, this feller right here, that one you could conceivably use for some wine. I think it could look rather nice. You know, it could be all right. It could be your wine mug. So consider this one from, getting this one from redbubble.com. And this one from the Pinder's Ugly Mug there on the left from teespring.com. And the link is in the chats right now. Field of Bears link I don't have handy. Otherwise, it's in my description. It's in the video description. It's been there for a little bit. So until his campaign is over, it will be up. It may be over. I don't know. He may be finished with that. So if so, I will have to change that link out. And I need to get a link back up for you, Steve, for your ugly mug. I'll go ahead and send it to me in our one-on-one Hangouts chat. Send it to me just one-on-one, and then I'll try to add it to my description until your selling is over. When does that end, Steve? How long until you are finished selling your ugly mug for this round? I would definitely like to know, because we're gonna do what we can to make sure that bears are well taken care of. They're supported. They're promoted. It has to happen. Oh, I'm gonna knock the table. 3 days you have left. 3 days. As it took Christ 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the earth, so it takes 3 days and 3 nights left for the sale of Pinder's Ugly Mug. Am I equating Pinder's Ugly Mug with our Lord and Savior? Hardly. However, neither have any form or comeliness that you should desire them. Consider that, my friends. So, onward we go. I'm sorry, that made me laugh. It's fun. Yes, that is a biblical verse that was descriptive of the Messiah. Just FYI. It's kind of funny where these parallels pop up. So, I was talking about my wife. She's been trying to take good care of her mom. And it can be difficult because as her mom is getting a little older, her memory is not always her friend. It doesn't always work 100%. And she's aware of it, but it's still not a pleasant thing to think about, right? It's not likely in the realm of Alzheimer's, but it is just some forms of memory difficulty. And sometimes she'll call me, my wife will call me and let me know about a thing that happened that day with her mom. And she'll tell me about what went down. It'll be something like, they were going to go, but when we first had her move down here, she was staying at a certain Catholic-based retirement home that didn't really have any care on call. They didn't have nurses or other staff to kind of help out throughout the day. And it was multi-floored. Like she had to get in an elevator or walk downstairs to be able to get back to the ground floor. So not necessarily ideal, but it worked, and it was fairly inexpensive. This place that she's in now happens to work out a bit better. It's only a few months that she's been staying there. But she was in the other place for like almost a year and a half before she moved. So she developed a number of friends over at that first place she stayed when she came down to Peoria. So we take her back to the other place. Every so often, Dawn will take her over there. And I think it was a few weeks back, she had told her mom, okay, I'm going to be here at this time to take you over to visit your friends at the previous place you lived at. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. I'll go ahead and add that on into the description of this video and others. So, excuse me. She came to get her mom, and her mom wasn't there, or wasn't coming ready to go, and or no, her mom was. Excuse me. I'm saying this. See, I'm having memory problems. Her mom was ready to go, but she was like, "Where are we going?" And Dawn was a little concerned that, you know, we just talked about this in like 15 minutes ago. I talked about it on the phone with you. And I think what she'd done is she wrote it down, but didn't remember a few minutes later, or wasn't thinking about it. She'd written something down, but didn't look at it. Like she'd written it down the day before. That's what it was. Like that was the place we were headed to, but forgot to look at the piece of paper, you know, to remind herself, yeah, that's what we're doing. It just slipped her mind. She couldn't focus on that. I'm like, you know, I'd be concerned about that, except that I do similar things often. I'll have, a moment of like, duh, why did I forget that? Somebody will tell me something, and 2 minutes later, if I'm distracted by something else, if something else takes my focus and I have to direct it there, take care of another matter. The original matter I was trying to focus on just minutes ago, you guys have watched me do it in this stream more than once, right? I'll forget where I was at or what I was trying to do. And it can be, pardon the nose, guy. Can't stop the sniffing today. It'll only take a couple of minutes for that to happen sometimes, but my brain will be searching for it, right? I learned this thing about the brain, that when you suddenly can't remember something in a conversation or what you're doing, you're subconsciously telling yourself, I want to know where this information is. And there's a part of your brain that's going and searching for it right at that moment. Your brain is looking for that information, trying to remember, what was I doing? What was I trying to think about? So it'll come back. It'll get there. Your brain will find it. Yes, Kick. Yeah, I understand that, actually. Being a drummer, I tend toward multitasking more than I should. It's really not great for an ADD-minded person like myself. But I'm just trying to turn and get let Big Bear stream in there a little bit. Yeah, see, I can use the left hand today, and I'm right. Don't forget, hashtag let Big Bear stream on his original channel, dagnabbit. So, yeah, she'll tell me about things going on with her mom from time to time, and she's concerned about it. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's not as warranted. I mean, not to devalue her feelings in any way, shape, or form. I tell her about that. Yes, conversating about conversation. I tell her that I'm not devaluing what she's feeling. It's totally appropriate. But at the same time, it's good to find ways to quell yourself on that stuff and be able to differentiate from what is just a feeling and what is reality. What are the facts? The facts are, she and I both have plenty of moments where we have those brain farts, and it's not quite as bad as one might think. We can take steps to deal with them better, right? That's a plus. If you just let yourself keep doing it all the time, then yeah, it's probably not a good thing. But if you're willing to say, okay, I need to take a step of action to correct this or to prevent it from happening as often, then that's a good thing. You want to do the things like that. And her mom is still in a position to do some of that, right? So I guess there was a medical appointment that happened recently, and she was talking to me yesterday about some of that. She was a little worried that perhaps she was not doing the best job she could for her mom's sake. She was questioning it some. She wondered, okay, I know mom is not always happy with the way the situation is, and I wonder if I should just do X, Y, or Z, if I should just make myself available, at all moments to be there for her. And I thought, well, let's think about that. What have you done thus far? What are you doing every day? Talking to her, calling her, checking with her. You're bringing her over to our home at least once or twice a week. You're engaging with her. You're constantly helping her make sure her medication's in order for the week. Every single thing you can do, you're on top of all sorts of stuff. So you're also working as a full-time dog walker, and you're doing plenty of other things too. You allow this family to function, right? I couldn't do this. I couldn't do a lot of other things if it weren't for her. Excuse me. You're kicking butt and taking names in what you do. That's very clear. Trying to put yourself in an unreasonably available position for your mom is not going to help her. And it's not going to help you. It's not going to help us. So even though it might be a little painful up front to see her struggle, if you know that it's going to be for her good and you'll get through the difficult time, you'll get to the point where it's not so much of a struggle. It's going to be okay. My wife never got married before she and I were together. She never had children. I've had 4 with my ex-wife before my current wife and I got married. So I've had the opportunity to watch, children, to engage in relationship with them, to watch them grow, and to know that they need boundary. They need clear markers for what's acceptable behavior and what isn't, for what's acceptable behavior from me on their behalf and what isn't. There are times where one of my kids might be harping for my attention. I want to pay attention to all of my kids all the time. I'm one person. I've had to tell them this several times. There's one of me and 4 of you. I want to pay attention to all of you, and I'm desperately trying to distribute my attention appropriately. So by telling them that and saying, I can't give you all of my attention right this moment, I'm helping them to realize they're not the only person in the universe, right? It's a natural instinct for them to not think that way nefariously. They're not thinking, I'm going to be a selfish and I'm just going to yell about me. They're not overtly thinking that way, but it's a subconscious tendency because they don't have perspective. They don't have perspective of recognizing that other people's needs on my attention are just as valid as theirs, especially their siblings. So I have to help them grow by putting limits on that, by not acquiescing to every single time they call for me or need me when I'm clearly in the middle of something else, and they have the ability to pay attention to the situation and see I'm needed elsewhere at this moment. Give me just a minute and I'm going to do my best to come back to you. I don't always succeed. I definitely fail at that more often than not. I forget sometimes, oh yeah, they were trying to get my attention, and I'm trying to get better at those kind of things, but I remind them I'm one person, right? So that helps them develop an awareness that helps them develop. But Monkey Wrench Bear, by the way, that's awesome. That's way cool. I didn't know you could do what you just did. Monkey Wrench Bear made a bear icon. That's so flipping cool. I'm sorry. I just hadn't noticed that. That's way awesome. Anywho, I have to let them know that they mostly it's stuff that it's not stuff that they necessarily need to do, Steve or anybody else that's listening. It sometimes is, but it's mostly that they want to tell me about something. They want to talk to me. And I want to hear that, right? I don't want to shut them down because they only see me a few times a week, right? And I want to engage with them every bit that I can. And I recognize that I've got limits on that. I can't do it as much as I want to with all of them. So I have to balance that. And I've got stuff with my wife. I've got stuff around the house, different things that I've got to focus on. So knowing that I have to distribute my attention appropriately, I have to say, okay, if you see me in the middle of something that's obviously requiring my attention, use your ability to read the situation, to have situational awareness, right? And if you can tell this is probably not the best time, place it at the right time. It's going to have to. It's like, it's not fun. It's not wonderful, but you're going to have to do that. It hurts me to have to do that. It's unpleasant for me to have to do that, because if I could give every element, every ounce of my time and my attention to every one of my kids, I'd do that in a heartbeat. I recognize that's not reality. That's not logical. And it's not good for them to think that it is. It's not good for them to think that anytime that they have some thought or something to say, whenever they feel it, that it can be indulged right at that moment. Even if it's a wonderful, valid thing to hear about. It's good for them to realize that life is difficult. Like, they're not the only person that needs to be paid attention to. And in a family of 4 kids, I think they have a wonderful advantage in learning that. And it's going to be a significant amount of unpleasantness and discomfort for them as they grow. But I know how desperately they need that in order to be healthy, happy, complete adults. And I'm more than happy to give that to them, even if it's uncomfortable to me watching them struggle. Even if it hurts me watching them struggle with dealing with that. So I try to give this perspective to my wife and say, your mom, as she's getting older, is experiencing some discomforts, some unpleasant times. She might have some pain in her lower back or something like that from time to time. And it gets scary. She's there living on her own. But she does have other people in the retirement community, you know, to connect with and interact with. But it's difficult. There's going to be struggles for her. It's not always going to be easy for her. She's not always going to feel comfort at every moment. So you're doing her a service by putting boundaries on what you're able to do for her. If you allow her being upset about a situation to bend you toward doing something that's unreasonable and outside of the bounds of what you're capable of doing on a regular basis, that's going to mess you up. It's going to mess her up. It's going to mess everybody up. So when she's not in a position to do it, it's up to you to set boundaries so that she is more happy and healthy and you are more happy and healthy. And then and only then is everybody going to be long-term happier and healthier. It's just the logic of the situation. It's just the reality of it. So my role in that is to continue to encourage her and remind her, just the way that she did this for you while you were growing up and set boundaries for you and your brother as well. My brother-in-law, who's great guy, Mark, he lives off in Australia with his family. He's a great guy. He can't be here to do a whole lot. And I'm sure he hates that at times. He wishes he could be closer, but you know, we're glad that he's able to do what he's doing. He has to say there's limits on what he's capable of doing. And they contribute in a lot of different ways to help out. They definitely do. And we're grateful for that. But yeah, he has to be able to say, okay, well, my first duty here is to take care of my wife and kids over here in Australia. That's what I've got to do, and do my job as well as a teacher. So he has to stay in his lane. We used to have this phrase in the Army: stay in your lane. Whenever you're out shooting rifles, right? When we're doing our basic rifle marksmanship, we'd be focused on a target, and we'd be sitting in this foxhole, so to speak. It wasn't really a foxhole, but it was basically a spot where we could put our elbows up and hold the weapon appropriately, and aim and shoot at targets that would pop up, you know, for us to shoot at various different distances away. Feel the bears. That is so messed up. And it's also hilarious because my wife will tell you, I have this predisposition to rearrange furniture on a regular basis. I enjoy doing it. Like I'm like playing Tetris with a room. I'm trying to figure out the most efficient way to put everything in a room, right? I like doing that. My brain's wired for enjoying that. So the fact that you said that is really, really, really funny. It's hilarious. To me anyway. So, okay, basic rifle marksmanship. We're sitting there and there's a row of us, right? Against this concrete wall or whatever the case may be, where we're placing our arms up and trying to get a good shot at targets downrange. But there's these huge open ranges where there's sections of targets that are within our lane of fire, right? And right next to us, we have another person with their lane of fire and their targets. And the idea is don't shoot at targets in the other person's lane because you're not going to get your qualification score if you shoot other people's targets. Stay in your lane, right? Stay in your lane. Focus on your targets and get your shooting done. You have to qualify, right? You're not going to help the unit out if your qualification score is shooting other people's targets. You've got to differentiate between what's your lane and what's your partner's. And there are markers out there to let you know where the boundaries of your lane and your partner's lane are, your neighbor's lane. So don't start getting into their lane, because this is a metaphor, but it's also like true within the situation, within that individual situation. It's on so many levels. You're not going to help yourself. You're not going to help your neighbor. He's going to get a higher score, but it's not going to be realistic to his actual qualification. And you're not going to help the unit if you're not capable of firing at stuff within your lane. If you're in an actual situation when you're taking enemy fire and you're firing at stuff that's not in your field of fire, not in your area, your sector, your area is not being covered, right? And an enemy could then approach from your area because you're not guarding that. You're trying to take care of your neighbor's stuff. Let them take care of their stuff. You've got your stuff to take care of. Everybody's got a job to do, right? So my wife is going through this period of time learning that, and she knows it. She just needs to be encouraged in it because it's difficult. It's unpleasant. It's hurtful. It's painful to be sort of weighing anchor, as I tried to say in the title of this, setting an anchor down in reality. And when other people are having difficulty anchoring themselves to reality, she's got to be that one that does it. And that hurts. That's tough. It's not easy because an anchor takes stress on it. If an anchor is holding down a very large boat, that boat is big, right? And it's going to drift away from where that anchor is weighed. So there's going to be tension. But the idea of that anchor is to hold that boat in place. So you take on yourself a very difficult task when you decide to serve as an anchor to reality for other people. But you do them a wonderful service by doing it. You are sacrificing your own comfort, your own pleasantness for the betterment of yourself and everybody else. And if that's not noble, I don't know what is. Because ultimately, you're going to reduce the collective suffering. You're going to take a little bit more overt suffering on yourself in the midst of that. You're going to allow certain people, other people in your life, to go through a minimal amount of suffering, but you recognize that you're preventing far worse suffering by doing what you're doing. So she was telling me about this yesterday, and it sort of struck me. I thought, boy, this is really important for times like this. Many of us are in positions where we see behavior from people that I guess associate with the far left political ideologies. And we see folks that are suffering, that are just losing their minds. Kodiak, you're cracking me up. Oh my goodness, you guys are funny. Straw in my lane. Is it drinking out of an ugly mug or a handsome mug, Kodiak? Which one that's in my lane? That's funny, man. A lot of us encounter people that are on the far left in our lives. And they are accepting ideas and ideologies that have specific evidence that refutes them from history, from examples right now going on that demonstrate very clearly with logic and reason that they don't work. They're not good for anyone. It's painful to be the person that stands up and says, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going along with this. It's painful to be the person that says, this is wacky thinking, and to get backlash. It was painful when, probably for Owen, when he said, hey, Jesse Thorne, giving a 4-year-old hormone blockers, that's akin to child abuse. And then to have a huge backlash on him for that. But he was willing to stand up and say it because it was true and it wasn't helping anybody or himself to go along with it and say, oh, that's okay. Doesn't mean that we're going to get the way we go about doing it always perfect, but to do something is important and to try to do the best you can with it. Yeah, Field of Bears. To say, I'm sorry, I'm not going along with X, Y, or Z. There's certain things I can't abide by. You know, if it's even in your own family. Like to draw lines. And at least in behavior, you know, when you see behavior that's clearly motivated out of that mindset or ideology. Kodiak drinks from all the mugs. That's funny. Mayor. All you guys going on and on about the conversations is killing me. I love it. I missed some of the earlier talk about the straws. I missed what was going on with some of that. You guys have been on and on about conversations for a while, and I've caught a little bit here and there, but I haven't really been watching all of it. To new people who come and see this video in the replay, new subscribers to the channel that haven't watched all the episodes, I give you fair warning. Go and watch these videos and leave the live chat on at your own peril. The people that frequent this show thus far, that have been patrons, are a unique bunch, and I'm very grateful for them. But watch out when you engage in the chat. Oh, I don't know if any of you can hear, but Gita is whining at me. And I'm not acquiescing to her whines because she's perfectly all right. She's had breakfast, or at least she's been given the opportunity to eat it. I don't know that she did. But she wants to continually whine at me. I'm currently setting a boundary for her by not acquiescing to the whines. I seem to like that word in the last several days, acquiesce. It's a fun word. It's nothing like pistachio. There's a word, right? Wink. All right, bonk. Let's see here. So, all that said, consider how you can be an anchor to others in your life in a better way. And just say, nope, here's reality, right? Being willing to set those boundaries in your life with people when they're not able to do it. Because you will improve their quality of life and yours in the long run by doing that. It will be painful. What are you willing to endure for a better outcome? Set the boundaries. Be the anchor. Somebody's got to do it. Might as well be us, right? Oh, boy. So, Gita, my dear puppy, is trying to get on the show right now. I think that's what's happening. She might come down here in a minute. What I want to do right now, did I not change that yesterday? Oh, okay. I'm just looking through my own channel, and I realized I didn't change the icon on yesterday's video, the thumbnail. I usually try to upload a fun thumbnail to go with stuff, so there'll be a couple coming from yesterday and today. But there was a video I wanted to pull up that I just laughed out loud about yesterday, and maybe there'll be a video involving this later on, like a musically motivated video. I'm going to see if I can find the spot I was thinking about. But this got me laughing so hard. And it was from Think Club. Let's see. This guy, if you don't subscribe to his stuff, he's really cool. He's really, really cool. Think Club is the name of the channel. Does a lot of stuff with Peterson in it. And Peterson, he went over the thing about Peterson's interview with Dr. Oz recently. And what he had to say about it was a little creepy because he's right. Jordan Peterson did like a 2.5 hour interview on Dr. Oz. I haven't finished the whole thing myself. I'm going to go back and really get my own perspective on it. But what I have seen, I think I would agree with largely, that the interview went forward almost like a screen test. Like they're prepping him for his own show. And it's entirely possible. They very well may be. I don't know. But if they are, it's pretty hilarious. There's a bit I'm looking for here. Let's see if I can bring it up. Let's see. Window capture once again. See, I usually have to go in and just make a new one whenever I do this. Okay, I'll see if this'll work. Yeah, they're thinking maybe he's gonna be like the next Dr. Phil was Think Club guys' idea about this. And I'll skip around a little bit because I'm looking for a specific thing, but this caught me as interesting. I died laughing when I heard this.
On this issue of the evil within us.
Yes, here we go.
And you use stories a lot. In some of them are stories that all of us are familiar with, Harry Potter being a good one for this example, where there's a little bit of evil in Harry Potter.
Yeah, darkness.
Darkness, the shadow.
Yeah.
Right, Voldemort, that story.
Right.
What is it about having or respecting that we all have evil that you find is important for us living our lives?
Well, I think the capacity for evil is something that is not easily distinguishable from strength.
Listen for it.
You know, and I mean, my knowledge runs out at this level of analysis in some sense. The world seems to be structured so that we can act for the good and we can act for evil. And I think that's associated with self-consciousness. And I think that's illustrated in the story of Adam and Eve. When Adam and Eve become self-conscious, the scales fall from their eyes. They realize that they're naked. And to realize that you're naked is to understand your vulnerability. That's why Adam and Eve clothed themselves right away. Oh no, I'm naked. I can be hurt. Okay, I can be hurt. I have to clothe myself. I have to protect myself in the future. You actually become aware of that in a way that animals aren't.
Here it comes, I think.
Well, what does it mean that you're naked? It means that everyone else is too. Yeah. What does it mean that you can be hurt? It means that everyone else can be hurt too. It means that you could hurt them. And that's why the knowledge of good and evil goes along with the knowledge of nakedness. That took me a long time to figure out. It took me about 30 years to figure that out. So why are those two things conjoined? Oh yes. When you understand that you're vulnerable, you understand that everyone else is vulnerable, and then you have the option of exploiting that. And so that's what transforms human beings to some degree from animals, because a predator just eats you, but a human being can play with you and will for all sorts of reasons. Now, the capacity to do that, though, why is the capacity to do that, let's say, useful? Well, it's useful to be strong and not to have to use it. That reflects something that we talked about earlier.
It's coming to something here.
Because
I'm
it makes
thinking
you
it's here.
Formidable.
Maybe I'm in the wrong spot.
And I think that you have to be formidable in order to move forward properly in the world, even to get through obstacles that aren't. Just to get through obstacles.
There is a portion here I really want to get to because
you have to have some commitment, and some of that is
so funny.
There will be a cost if you interfere with me. It'll be the minimal cost necessary. Let's say if you've got yourself under control.
I might be missing it. Hang on.
It will be the minimal cost necessary, but do not be thinking there won't be a cost. And I don't believe that if that's not built into your character, then you have no strength, and you certainly have no strength when you're pushed by someone who's malevolent. A bully, if you're like that, if the bully pushes you, and your response is, there will be a cost for pushing me, and you will pay it, then the bully will go elsewhere. And we know that too from studies of bullies.
This is interesting.
You know, like even childhood
But he said
bullies,
all this.
They push around kids, and then they find the ones that retreat and withdraw, and they bully them. So, and you know, you might think, well, usually children are bullied because of some abnormality. That's a very common idea. It's like, there's a guy named Dan Olweus, a very smart Norwegian psychologist, and he studied bullying for a long time.
It's interesting that he could say all this in light of the recent tweet.
He said his analysis indicated that at least 3/4 of children have some obvious abnormality that could be the focus of bullying attention. It might even be your name. It doesn't take much of a genius bully to come up with a
more than
way
I meant
of
to
making
show.
fun of your name, or you're too tall, or you're too short, or you know, or your brother's too tall or too short, or there's something. It isn't the abnormality that is the cause of the bullying. It's the abnormality might become the focus of the bullying, but part of the cause is the withdrawal in the face of the bullies, because the bully thinks he can get away with it. Well, if you're, and it's also the case with children who are preyed upon by adult predators. Like adult predators of children look for children who are easily cowed and who won't put up a fight. So, for example, if you're teaching your children to be terrified of strangers, that's really not a very good strategy. You want kids who are confident.
I'm not sure where this part was, but it's so priceless, and I wish I could share it with you. I'll have to look through for. This whole section wasn't what I was planning on playing today, but it does play into it does play into my earlier point, right? It does speak to that earlier point quite well, which is that you have to be a boundary, right? You have to set boundaries for others, right? And say, no, you're not going to be able to do that thing. Because even people that love you in your life can push that predisposition, right? They can begin to take advantage of you if you're not setting boundaries for them. And you know, this is where that line draws. And it allows them to access that part of themselves more easily that isn't any good for them to access. So there is a point there that I think was relevant. But there's another part here that I desperately want you to hear because I busted out laughing when I heard it. And I think it's here. I think it's
that characterological strength has to be built in.
Let me play to the evil side of that equation. We do a lot of shows on true crime. Through the
I
lens
think we're
of
here.
Of a doctor. I'm interested in the forensics and what went down emotionally, psychologically. What creates evil? What is the nature of evil? I mean, Solzhenitsyn wrote about this after unbelievable evil that he witnessed and lived through in Soviet Russia. So some people see it and can react and respond and they survive. Others wilt away. But what caused the evil?
There are levels. Well, some of it's like moronic evil, you might say. It's like, well, someone has something you don't and you want it. That's just theft, bicycle theft or something like that. It's pure material greed. And then I guess the level after that would be something like, well, the desire to cause harm.
Bicycle theft, of all things that he could bring up, that made me about fall over dying. Oh my gosh. Like, of all the things that he could bring up in that whole bit and everything that has been going on with Big Bear talking about him in the last several days, when he said that line, I was like, of all the things he could speak about, he spoke about bicycle theft. And so it needs to happen. There needs to be a new stole my bike. And he said, Jordan Peterson stole my bike. That bully Peterson stole my bike. Dun, 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 dun. I do it with the guitar right now, but I'll pass. That big snow monkey stole my bike. So there's gonna be something. There's gonna be something. I haven't had time to program it. Right. I want to set the music up in GarageBand and put that with that clip. Right. Maybe put it the way Akira the Dawn puts together like bits and adds people's voices to it and stuff. Oh my gosh, that was killing me. That was just killing me, man. So yeah, I was driving on my way to a lesson and I was listening to that as I was driving, and I almost had to pull over. When he said that, I laughed so stinking hard. Like theft, like bicycle theft. Oh, unintentionally funny, but it was good. It was worth their time. Sorry it took me so long to get through. I knew it was toward the middle. I just couldn't remember where. But the earlier portion was useful because it's interesting to see that. It's interesting to see that he's spoken on that. And yet there's a situation more recently. It's like, I think that's what was upsetting. For Big Bear, why I got a little upset is because it's like, this guy, you think he knew, right? You would think he knows how bullies operate. He's talking about it specifically. What else is going on? It makes you think that there's more detail to it, or you know, it's hard to believe the idea that he wasn't aware, right? Because he's aware of so much. But maybe that's part of the problem, is that he's aware of so much. Kermit the Frog stole my bike. That Kermit the Frog stole your bike. No, wait, that's Ernie. Sorry. Jim Henson originally did the voice for Kermit and for Ernie off of Sesame Street. So this is really a lean back to Jim Henson. If Jim Henson was Canadian, well, you know, Jim Henson was a little bit more effeminate, and he sounded down here, but he talked about masculinity. That'd be appropriate, That's right about Peterson land with the impression. It's right about here. And then you just throw in some talk about Alexander Solzhenitsyn and the Soviet Union, and say some A's a few times, and then you have a good Peterson. I think that's probably about the best Peterson I've done thus far. and it'd probably get a little bit better. It's almost teetering on Irish. It's getting close to that, but not quite. That Kermit the Frog is white. That's so funny. Oh my goodness. My dog is really pressing my patience right now. I love her, but she needs to know there's limits. There's limits. It's not your time right now, dear. It's time for you to shush. Oh, she'll do it all night long, too. If it's not her night in the bedroom, she'll whine at you all night long. She'll sit on the steps, right? But we can't have all three dogs in the bedroom at once. It's just, A, it's not a large enough room. B, it's not good for them because they end up getting competitive with each other on who gets to be on the bed. And then we don't sleep. Plus, 3 dogs tends to take up an awful lot of room on our queen-size mattress, which is sitting on a full-size frame. Figure that one out. Yeah. Fun. So, no, she doesn't actually. She that's not why. I would think that as a possibility. But they went just before their mom left a little while ago. And they're not hurting for that. Like, they wait hours before they go. Hours upon hours. And so, yeah, she's doing that because she does want attention, but she has to learn that she can't have it at every moment, right? It's not feasible. I love them, though. And who knows? Maybe I'll bring them down here in a minute just for the heck of it. But then, am I indulging them? Am I weighing anchor for my dogs? I don't know. Where do you set those boundaries? Where do you draw those lines? It might not always be good. I actually may just be heading out because I have a few things to take care of today. So it might just be a cut short show, but I did get started a little late. So it's about that time to be done. Wanted to express some thoughts on that. Wanted to dig into that issue a little bit on why it's important for us to set boundaries in our relationships with people. Because if they don't know where, I mean, that's what the rough and tumble play concept is all about, right? You're setting boundaries with your child to let them know that there are certain boundaries of how they can physically interact with you, right? You don't want them to think they can just be biting, punching, kicking, pulling on anybody. You have to let them know, okay, there's limits in there. You have to know where the physical limits are. And I think in large part I've let my kids know. I was thinking there's a great Brian Regan bit that my kids and I were listening to last week that was so funny. And he was talking about, he was playing on the floor wrestling with his kids, and it was a lot of fun. And his daughter, she was like on his legs doing the up and down thing on his legs. He's looking, she's playing, she's coming on his legs, and all of a sudden she's gone. He's like, where'd she go? You know, he's looked away for a second, looked back. She's not there. Where did she go? And he's like, she was in midair, right? And I've discovered fully once she landed on my head. You know, he's yelling about it. He's like, sweetie, you can't jump on Daddy's head. This doesn't work. It's not a good thing. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Dad. I didn't know that would hurt. Yeah. Jumping on a head hurts. And so he figures, okay, situation done. And he sees her coming with a pillow. And like she's going to give him a pillow to put his head under. It's like, that's really sweet of her. No. The pillow was to go over his face while she jumped on his head again, right? I was like, well, I thought it wouldn't hurt with a pillow. No. It was not pleasant at all. Yes, Brian Regan is probably one of my other favorite comedians. I can't share Owen stuff with the kids too much. My older boys, I can do Panisse. I can share Panisse. That's about as far as it goes. But the younger kids, they can get into Brian Regan because he stayed family friendly for a long time in terms of, like, you know, content, you know, subject matter that even the kids can relate to. It's pretty fun. And yeah, I dig that. That's probably my 2 favorites are Owen and Brian. I like Norm. There's a lot of good things I like about Norm, but again, that's not something I can share with my children. Norm's just good at the way he presents things. His whole overall demeanor is hilarious. So yeah. Get in if you don't get into Brian Regan, you know, like even Big Bear's talked about him as being pretty darn funny. Gaffigan is also hilarious. Gaffigan, I watch, you know, he's largely acceptable for the kids. Occasionally he has a moment or two where I'm like, okay, just Don't say that word. Or it's a subject matter that I'm like, that's probably not for children. But the large part, it's not for my children. Let's put it that way. Not yet. Not the younger ones. But Hot Pockets. The Hot Pockets, but they'll laugh at that one all day long. Hot Pockets. Pretty funny. So there's a few good comedians out there, but I think ones that are on the forefront of the culture war would be like Owen. You know, in a lot of ways, it was Norm. Yeah, I will agree, Blue Sky. A lot of Gaffigan's bits have been about food. I think it's important. Okay, so there was a bit where Crowder and Nage Jared were watching an Amy Schumer comedy special together, her Netflix special that got 1-starred, right? This was several months ago, almost a year ago now. And they sat and watched it together. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, he makes you laugh. He does a lot about food, it's true, but he has a lot of other material besides the food. I think it's like seeing an abundance of different specials helps, and a bunch of them are on YouTube right now. That's one of the cool things. See, that's cool, Kick Ya. That's awesome. Big Drum, save this for later. I'm going to save that for later. What is it? I'm going to find out what that is and check it out. I'm not going to do it right now, but I'm going to bring it up right now so I can watch it later. Whatever it is, it's 8 minutes and 50 seconds long. So, ooh, the Gunfighter. I don't know what that's about. I will watch that. I will watch that. Best short film ever. Okay. Gonna have to check that out. Looks fun. Thank you, Kodiak. See, bears bring cool stuff to the table. I like that. I always like that. Okay, stop. I'm going to pause it. Well, I would pause it if it let me pause. There it goes. Okay, so close this. Just trying to take the load off my computer here. Yeah, that looks cool. Jeff Dunham does some really funny stuff with puppets. In fact, I watched a behind the scenes about Jeff Dunham recently that was pretty interesting. A lot of things I didn't know about the guy. There's some really good comedians out there, but yeah, I see a uniqueness between Owen and a lot of these others, and that's why I think I've enjoyed a lot of his stuff more recently. Like, I don't see any other comedians out there like interacting with their fan base to the degree that Owen does. Like, that's high level stuff. That's impressive, and it really inspires me to do the same thing, to really engage with people out there more, make my whole branding based on how I interact with the people that are interested in my stuff. That's the best part to me, because you guys make me laugh. You guys inspire me so much. I had a conversation with one of the bears the other day. I had a conversation with Best Answers recently, and that was great. Guys should find a way to connect with Best Answers if you can through email or something, or go link up to his channel. He's going to start putting out some videos. He's working on trying to figure out how to do some of that. I think he was saying he was trying to put out some. No, I'm sorry. I was mixing you with. Did you say you were trying to make some videos at some point in the future? Or no. I don't. You wanted to. You had a story. You wanted to share more of your story, and you were thinking maybe videos might be a way to do that, but. Yeah, Big Bear inspires a lot, and you guys inspire me. So, well, thank you, Blue Sky. I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. I've been inspired by Steve Pinder. I've been inspired by Field of Bears. Been inspired by Mayor. Been inspired by Vet. Moomin. Kodiak. All you guys that are putting content out there for us to get into, that you're trying to find some way to be a little more consistent with what you create, and you're thinking about how does this help somebody else? How does this impact them positively? I like it when I see you guys out there trying to do stuff like that. And that's a tough thing to do when you're integrating that into your daily lives. So my daily life is not all that organized. It's fairly chaotic at times, but because of doing this, I'm more motivated. I'm held more accountable to get it more in order, because I know that the more I grow, right, the more I'm going to need things in some semblance of order. And that's the thing. Some people I know think you need to wait until you get all the order in line first before you start trying to do something outside of yourself in that way, or outside of your environment. Inspire the spiral. Yeah, I don't always agree. I think sometimes you need to get started. You need to just start doing something, right? And focus on other people while you're doing it. Seek to help others out. And in that process, you're going to find other strength to get the other things in order that you need to, right? I haven't attacked this basement for months. And today, I'm going to see elements of what I've started to do down here finished. There's going to be a whole nother bookshelf over here that hasn't been down here in this spot. This whole studio area is going to be set up behind me where I'm at now. The drum set's going to end up being, and I'm going to have the table over this way a little bit. So you're going to see a larger scope of the room when I'm done with this. It's going to be something else. It's going to be something pretty incredible when I'm done with it. And I'm excited about that. And my kids are going to have this area that they're going to, I think, enjoy quite a bit over on the other side of the room. There's a lot more stuff they can do over there. I'm excited about that. That's really fun to me. It's just getting more and more of a home. Every step I can take to make it more of an enjoyable place to come to be at. It's more recharging, more refreshing. So I'm inspired to do that because I come and interact with you guys every day. Like, I'm putting stuff out there. I want to make something that's of interest, that's useful. And you guys just give me so much back. You give me a ton back. There's 20 people in here right now. Like, that's mind-blowing to me. I started with numbers of like 7 or 8. And sometimes I'm up in like the 25 range or something like that. And that's mind-blowing. And I believe in a future where you're going to see 100, 200, maybe more. That's entirely possible to me. I'm not, how would I put that? It's not outside the realm of possibility at all. When I first started this, wondered if that was ever going to be a thing. I thought, if not, cool. If it never got bigger than this, okay, cool. I'm still glad to share the things that I share with you guys. But it's clearly going to. Like, it continues to grow. It continues to grow. If it all went away tomorrow, great. But if I can continue to grow, continue to put out more encouragement, more hilarity, and more music out there, I'm glad. Last thing I'll leave you with. I was in the studio last night with the dad of one of my students. A great guy. His name's Brett. He's a fantastic recording engineer, mixer, and musician. Writes beautiful songs. Amazing songs. Wonderful guy. And he has spent the last couple decades of his life perfecting his abilities as a mixing engineer and master as well. Developing both sides of that. Because mixing a recording is one thing. Mastering it is another. But he's beginning to understand that far better. And he does incredible stuff with it. He had a song. And he had me sit down at this electronic kit that he had in the basement, in the studio there. And he's got a studio. I mean, he's got a nice area down there for doing stuff like that. They crafted to be a studio to really work out well. But he had me sit on the kit, and I listened to this song of his a couple of times. Just a couple of times to get the general idea behind it. I sat down and did one take. And then I think I tweaked a couple of things in the very end. I re-recorded some of the last, I don't know, like 20 measures or something. Hey, at Eric Nimmer, what's up? Glad to see you in here. You just popping in for the end, man. I was talking about drums. I was in a recording studio last night with a friend of mine is what I was talking about. Buddy, he's got a career of the last 20-some years of being a recording engineer and mixer masterer. So he wrote a song. He had me come in and play on it. And I did like one take on this tune. And then we went back over the last little bits of it and re-recorded some parts. We're not sitting on kids. Eric Nimmer, everybody, you can't not laugh when this guy pops in. Hey, by the way, man, I haven't had a chance to tell you since you did it, but fantastic job in the To Kill a Mockingbird skit. That was so funny. It was so funny. Your fear was legitimately believable, right? Like the white people were actually coming for you. Like they were legit coming for you, and you were scared as all get out, you know. And that was so well done, man. I felt that. It was like it was funny and disturbing at the same time. So I didn't get to see your episode on Crowder because, ashamedly, I'm not a mug clubber yet, and I want to be. I'm going to be. But I hope your episode the other night was fantastic. Was it last night or was it tonight that you're going to be on? Because Eric's going to be on Crowder, or he was on Crowder. We make you fearful. Method acting. That's right, man. My dad used to teach the same stuff at the local community college for years. Last night. Okay. So if you're Mug Clubber, you got to see last night's episode. Eric Nimmer was all over that. I want to be a Mug Clubber, and I'm working to get to a point in my life where I can be one. Dude, that's legit. That's what's up. See, and that's what happens whenever Owen's on there. It's the same deal. No, massively proud of this guy. Like, you know, he's come up a lot. Since I first found out about Eric Nimmer, I've seen his levels just like grow. You know, he's just been propelled way up. So cool cat. No. Yeah, sitting on children. I always call somebody out when they pop in, like my good buddy Harold Green. I always take some time out and say, hey, go love on Harold Green. Harold's done some great stuff. You got to get his album, haroldgreenmusic.com, to download the Love album. That's the Love album. You got to get it. That's my homie right there. So whenever he pops in the stream, I always encourage people, and it's Green with an extra E on the end, by the way. That's funny. That's funny. You guys are cracking me up here. Anyway, so sitting on kids. Eric wanted to know about the sitting kids. We're not sitting on kids, actually. I was playing a drum kit, right? An electronic drum setup in this buddy's studio. This buddy of mine has a studio. Yeah, it's become the Nimmer show, right? But well, you came here, you know, you had free choice. Jeez, Nimmer, golly. We're playing this track. I do one take on the song and then just a couple of retakes on the last 20 or so measures of it, just to touch up, make sure that the last hits are right along with the other instruments. I'm not wearing headphones. Like when you're in a recording studio playing drums, it's really useful to wear headphones so you can hear the metronome click and you can hear the rest of the instruments. And it's a lot more comfortable for you to process all those sounds at once and process what you're doing physically playing the drum kit. So difficult stuff, right? I don't have headphones for this. I'm listening to it on the monitor speakers for the studio, the big monitor speakers, and the clicks coming out of that, all of this stuff at once. I'm not centered between the speakers. It's not the most comfortable situation. Electronic drums are not always my favorite, but I'm more than happy to use them and try to make it work. So not the most comfortable situation, but I did one take on that and just wanted to play with that. And we're doing this where it records in MIDI, musical instrument digital interface, right? So every note from every specific part of the drum kit gets recorded into this program, and you can edit each individual note. You can pull a note forward or backward if it's not right on the beat. I asked him, how much editing did you have to do to my part? You know, how off was I? Because I suspected that I wasn't playing that way. He said almost none, almost zero, maybe a couple of little hits, one or two here or there that I yanked in and lined up. And that's fairly common to do, even in professional recording settings, right? And this studio is a very professional setup that he's got going here. It's not the gigantic, huge boards that you see in those studios, but it's not your chintzy little home studio. It's high quality stuff here. So yeah, he said, I really did next to nothing to your part. I might have flown in one little bit at the end to adjust that, and there were a couple little hits here or there that I thought, I'll just pull that a little closer to be right in the pocket, but it was almost straight on. Yeah, there's almost no quantizing that he had to do, almost none. Because I was playing in the pocket so much of the time, and I thought, that's wild. He played it back for me with almost the non-existent editing that he did to it. And that really hit me because I don't think I've ever played at that level before when I listened back to it. I can't wait to share it with you, but I'll wait until at least there's vocals in it, maybe. I don't know. He's going to put a lot of stuff with this. It's going to be in a major track. I might play a section of it next time. I'll try to do that, but just a little bit of where some of the drumming went. And it really hit me. It's like, man, I thought I wasn't doing all that great. I thought maybe I was probably just muddling through and doing what I could, and it was probably just going to have to be chopped up, edited, and all this kind of stuff. You know, somebody else was going to have to make it sound decent. But no, he said, your playing was extremely good. I had to do almost nothing to it. And that's not one of these. That's not what I'm trying to do there. My point is, I was floored by that. I didn't expect that. I was serving as an anchor in that song for the tempo far better than I thought I was. I was holding everybody together musically far better than I believed I was. You don't have to think that you're doing a good job of being an anchor when you're going through life trying to set boundaries for people, trying to let them know where the mark is. You don't have to think that you're doing a good job at it all the time to be doing a good job. And it's amazingly blessing to you when somebody else can come alongside you and reveal that to you in the moments where you think, I probably did okay. It can blow you away to realize what you're capable of, what things you can do for the people around you, what power you have within you to be a very important figure in other people's lives. So I saw that explained in my drumming. I saw that within my drumming, and that was incredible to me. It was such a boost. But I see the parallel between what I've been talking about today and that instance last night. You're doing better for people's lives than you think you are. You're doing so much better. Don't let you be the ultimate judge for yourself. Your perspective is tainted. You're seeing you, right, where I can't see me except that I have this monitor to put it back at me, right? This mirror lets me know what I'm doing, right? But my eyes can't see me. You need somebody else's eyes to see you. You need somebody else's perspective to give you an accurate reading of what's going on with you. So don't be your own judge and decide that you can't do it and that you suck. Seek out those people who are going to build you up appropriately, not lie to you, tell you the truth and give you true feedback and remind you that when you think you're doing a poor job, right, you're not the ultimate judge of what your job is. The effects that it has on others is the ultimate tell. Ultimate purpose. I love you, Bears. Thank you so much. Hats off to Nikki Haley for resigning from the UN. Thank you, On a Journey, for letting us know. I'm glad that she's not having to deal with that anymore. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace, Bears.